didn't even think of that. 30 seconds. Morning show, morning show, morning show, morning show. Gonna do
I can never
morning
get on
show.
it until you've actually started it.
All right. I think we're live. It's time for the Toad Hall morning show here on Groundhog's Day, which is always a special day in Illinois because Bill Murray, obviously from Illinois. Groundhog's Day was filmed
Partially in
Woodstock, which is not too far from here.
Yeah, they were talking about it on WNPR on my way in this morning.
So how about that? Happy Groundhog's Day, although they did say we're getting another 6 weeks of winter. It feels like 6 months around if you live around northern Illinois.
Oh my God, we got so much snow over the weekend. It was horrible.
And I know some of you viewers out east are digging out right now, so we feel your pain. This week on the morning show, we go over musical formats. That's right, we're going over the history of music formats through the years. Annette got new speakers. Surprise, we went over that. And we're also going to tie in some Black history artists, specifically Sam Cooke. So we got a lot to cover today. We're going to go over, I don't know, we're just going to talk about the store for a minute because I feel like we've kind of slacked off on that lately. It's been crazy, you guys. You have been doing a great job. You guys watching the videos, boosting things. It's been great. We've been shipping so many records. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
So
I had a stack like this big on one order that I pulled Saturday.
So
sent over to be shipped out.
So I want to thank you guys, my viewers, for watching and buying and calling us and ordering stuff, and the fan mail and the everything is just phenomenal. And it really makes getting up early for this worth it. And that being said, we'll go over some of the. There's a few new pieces that came in on Monday. Our Friday shipment came in late on Monday. We'll go over some of those.
Oh,
too.
that's the rest of our Friday shipment.
We got to check those in today. We'll be doing that today.
Definitely.
So yeah, we've been really busy with that. You know, we've been working on an expansion here in the store. We're working on, and still, we did remodeling and the pandemic in last March and April, and we're still refilling that up. And I'm liquidating stereo equipment. We're liquidating Edison records. We're going to get to that. So there's a lot of moving pieces going on right now in the store.
Always, constantly.
It's all exciting stuff. It's all expanding this, doing this, changing that, cleaning this up, displaying things better. It's all
finding what's hidden in that corner that you never knew about.
Yeah, there's a lot of corners in this building, guys. There's a lot of cool hidden stuff in the shop. So yeah, we're doing a lot of digging, a lot of clean out, a lot of bulk lots. I know some of you guys like to buy in bulk and resell, which is totally cool with us. We got some bulk lots coming up. We'll go over that. So, you want to talk about your speakers? You want to tell the story from your side?
Well, Saturday I'm working, working Saturday, usual, blah, blah, blah. Everybody in the store is just acting like everything's great. Well, there had been this pair of speakers over in the storage area, or the area where things get looked at before they get out on the floor. And I'm like, I didn't know anything about the speakers, but they were very aesthetically pleasing to me. They definitely had that 1950s, 1960s MCM kind of vibe to them. And I'm like, those are so cool. I just love them. The cabinets. So, lo and behold, Saturday evening, I get home from work, put my purse down, take my boots off, wander around a little bit, look over to my stereo, and there are the speakers. Everybody in this store knew about it.
Yep.
My husband pulled his vehicle around the back to where the areas that they were, and I just couldn't believe it. They really sound pretty good. They've got one 10-inch Wharfdale in them, and Wharfdale's a Great Britain, a speaker from Great Britain. I'm not sure how old these speakers are. There's no other markings on them. So they look really cool, and they don't sound too bad either. Yeah, they
definitely have the 40s, 50s vibe. They got furniture legs. It's a big square box with a grid pattern and the cloth.
Yeah.
They're they're like 2.5 foot by 2.5 foot.
If they were any bigger,
they're big.
I would not have enough room for them on my wall where I have my system.
They are monstrous, but we had them hooked up. They sounded really good. So that was fun. This week we surprised, I should say, your husband surprised you with them. He saw them. I posted them on our Facebook channel, or our Facebook. I posted them last week. You can go over there if you want to check them out, and follow us on Facebook too. But yeah, we have pictures of them over there. And he's like, those would be perfect. He came in, snuck them out, And we were all laughing so hard because we were always Annette's gonna get home. She's gonna get these new speakers. Oh, it was a lot of fun.
And listened to a lot of music Saturday night.
Yeah,
That was fun.
Yeah, you got through a lot of stuff.
Wham through some stuff, yeah. So that was really, really fun and just unexpected. So
Yeah, that's what makes it all fun.
Thank you, husband.
Oh man, it's a husband shout out. That's
Otherwise known as Paul.
Paul, aka Paul.
Yeah, aka Paul.
So should we jump into? You want to do formats, or should we do Sam
I
Cooke?
think we should do formats first.
All right,
Lead
let's do
into
formats.
it. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
All right. So we've been wanting to do a history of musical formats for some time now. We finally got it all together for you guys. So we're gonna start from the beginning and then go into the present.
Well, they'll kind of be in order.
Sorta.
Sheet music.
Before there was any physical recorded music, sheet music was the way music was shared. And a lot of times, sheet music, people who collect sheet music, and there's people out there, believe it or not, quite a few of them who collect sheet music. We have about 100,000 pieces here at the store, ranging back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, all the way up through about the 70s.
Yeah. There might even be some a little bit later than the 70s.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe 80s, early 90s.
Majority of what we have is definitely 1890 to 1950, I would say, 1940.
Definitely.
And it was typically used to tell a story. And obviously you open it up, it has piano sheet music, you can play it. Because there was no other way to share the music. So this is how they shared it. They printed it and they distributed it, and it went to bars and cafes and clubs and people's homes, and that was how music was shared. And that's why everyone had a piano. Mm-hmm. Every bar had a piano, because that was the heart of music. Until
1888.
1880. Damn, that seems like that's insane.
Isn't it though?
The Edison cylinder.
It was 1888 or close to 1888.
Yeah, I mean,
I couldn't get a definitive date on that.
Well, yeah, and your stone tablet probably doesn't have a exact date.
No, and boy, was that heavy when I had to pull that thing out.
1888. The Edison cylinder was invented. Do you have stats on that?
No stats.
No
I just
stats.
did like some years and stuff.
So you would slide this on a rolling pin. You slide it on. The needle would come down like this, and this would turn. Fits about 3 minutes of music. The only bad side was, and here's the slip they had for him. There's Thomas Edison right there on the cover, showing himself there. Little description on it. These are still around. I mean, they crumble really easily, so they're kind of fragile. Obviously, if you slide them on, and you know, over the last 140 years or so.
It looks like this was first patented in 1901.
I thought 1888 was a little early, but maybe this could be this record.
Well, this is the very beginning of it, I think, when he was starting to invent it, so to speak. It hadn't gone out publicly or anything. I think it was the beginning of it.
Okay. So 1901, we're changing the date from 1888 to 1901.
Well, 1901 is when it was first patented.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I mean, no one's probably trying to steal it from him back in 1988. So we went to that. We did that for a while. And then Edison figured out that he could fit more music on a flat disc.
Mm.
The Edison Diamond Disc was born.
And do you know when that was launched?
When?
1912.
1912. We didn't even have cars yet, but we had the Edison Diamond Disc. We didn't have refrigeration. We didn't have...
We had ice.
We had ice from the lakes.
Yeah.
We probably had beer. We definitely had beer. We definitely had beer.
Yeah.
But we didn't have any of that stuff. So the Edison Diamond Disc came out. These play at 80 RPM.
About a quarter-inch thick.
They're about a quarter-inch thick.
Huge.
And this was a big change because you could fit more music on it. There was two sides. Mm-hmm. The other interesting thing about Edison records is that the needle, modern turntables, the needle rides in the groove, and left is left channel and right is right channel. That's how you get the two. The Edison record derives its music from going up and down. It's a different mechanics to the record. It's more of an up and down motion. So instead of the groove going like this, it goes depth up and down in the depth to get the sound out of it. So obviously these are not playable on a standard 78 Victrola. You have to have an Edison player for them.
Is that what we've? What's that big one that we've got?
We do. We have an Edison. We have an Edison player for sale right now. In fact, like I said, we're doing a lot of changes in the store. We're actually emptying out one of our buildings across the street. We have several buildings in the area, and
It's the Toad Hall block.
yeah. And one of the things we're liquidating is 3,000 of these. So if you guys like to do any kind of reselling, or you like to collect Edisons, or a lot of times museums like to collect this stuff because this music is quickly being lost to time, get a hold of us. We have a large lot with a working player. It's a stand-up player, wind-up player. You put them on, they play. And then 3,000 of these, which weigh a
How
ton.
much are they? Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
You pack like 6 of these and you got at least 1.5 pounds going on.
Oh, this thing's like a pound already.
Wow.
But yeah, they're quite heavy. They're actually pretty sturdy because of their thickness.
Like I said, they're probably about 1/4 inch.
Yeah, they're quite thick. So again, that was all we had, and it was like magic, to be able to put this on and hear someone's voice. You wouldn't actually have to have someone; you could just record it, play it back. Amazing. That is until the 78. I would say the first wide release format.
The 78 is the invention of German-born Emil Berliner. Berliner, spelled like Berlin, but with an ER on there. And he unveiled the prototype in 1888. And then through trying it out and whatnot, I have very, very small notes on this stage, but they settled on the shellac format in 1891.
Okay.
So first prototype 1888, settled on shellac in 91.
Okay.
1891.
Okay. But it did.
What else were they made of besides
this
shellac?
is shellac. So the Edison has a wood core. It's like a shellac with a wood. There's like a sawdust base in this. That's why if these get wet, they're like garbage. Whereas the shellac, it's very rigid. It's a lot thinner, but they shatter
Very fragile.
easily. They're very fragile. And I would say the 78 kind of reigned supreme. It was the more adopted format. Rather than 80 RPM, the 78 is a groove similar to the LP, where it's left and right. And it reigned supreme all the way up to the 40s.
Yeah.
Into the early 50s will be our next jump. So we're talking about, it's hard to find 78s that are pre-war. There's kind of, if you're a 78 collector or you don't know anything about 78s, there's pre and post-war 78s. So pre-war, obviously we're talking about World War II, is a lot harder stuff to find. It's a lot more collectible. So we're talking, the teens, 20s, 30s. There's kind of a gap there in the war years. Then on the other side of the war years, the late 40s, 50s was a lot more. That's a lot of the stuff you see at thrift stores and garage sales and resales right now, because it's a little later. Those older grandparents and whatnot still had them in their collection, and they clean out. Those are being surfaced. Those are your Sinatras, your Dean Martins, and your Mantovani's, Mitch Millers, all that stuff.
Right.
Red Label, Scroll, all the kind of later labels. Typically, they're smaller labels. This is a post-war label. The pre-war labels are typically a lot larger.
Okay.
You can, if you start, collectors out there will know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you're new to it, there'll be different labels. The smaller labels are later labels. And they ran right up to, right into the invention of the 33 and the 45.
In 1948.
Okay, so we're in the late 40s. So we've gone all the way up from the 1800s all the way into the late 40s to get to where you guys are collecting.
That's right.
Let's go hit it off, Annette. What you got?
Let's do it.
Oh, here's a 12-inch 78. So they did the 10-inch, which is kind of the standard size. Then they went to a 12-inch, which was typically used for classical and spoken word.
So they could get more on it?
Just so they could get more on it. I mean, this one's Boston Pops Orchestra. Typically 12-inch. This one's like brand new. But typically spoken word and classical, which happen to be not very collectible genres. The stuff that's really collectible in 78s is your blues, your jazz, your early rock and roll will almost always be on 10-inch. So, But I just wanted to, since we're doing the formats, I wanted to say
Yeah.
that there was a 12-inch 78 there for a minute.
So now just basically the 33s and the 45s, 33 and a third and 45s made their debut in 1948.
Yep.
I should probably save this for another show, but
It's all right. What you got?
Charlie Parker's "The Bird Blows the Blues" is believed to be the first jazz LP.
From 1948, 49,
Well, somewhere in that area.
48, 49.
Yeah. And then RCA unveiled the single, 7-inch disc single, as we know, the 45, in March of 1949.
So if you guys aren't familiar, there was a format war going on. Not unlike we have today. RCA was the new kids on the block. Bunch of 20-somethings over there. Columbia had held the reign supreme they came out with the 33, and the kids down the block came to them with the 7-inch format and said this would be perfect for X, Y, and Z. And they just told them to shove it. They said, get the hell out of here. We know what we're doing. We've been doing this. We've been in this industry since the Victrola. We've been in this industry for 40 years. We know what we're doing. Well, RCA said, oh, the heck with that. We're going to do this at the 45. So they launched, and they were grabbing all the single artists. They were grabbing all that industry, and they were pumping money in that business like crazy. Finally, the old head honchos woke up and said, oh, crap, we need to get on board. How are we getting beaten at our own game by these youngsters down the block? Very cool story. I could do a whole show about that whole format war back in the late 40s, early 50s. It's really interesting. I know there's a couple movies on it, in fact.
Yeah.
But check that out. If you're into music history and you like that kind of stuff, that is a really cool time to check out.
Real?
Next format? Oh.
Probably the real.
The real?
Actually,
You got the 45.
we just have some 45s here that we just wanted to pull out. Here we have Chuck Berry doing Let It Rock and Too Pooped to Pop. I can't read. I'm not sure if there's a year on this or not. But this is on Chess Records from Chicago.
Oh. Always cool.
Yeah.
So RCA wanted to license their technology. They wanted to license it and sell for 445s, and obviously they were very successful doing that, even without the help of the head honchos.
Another Chubby Checker. We've got some Ale Green. This looks like it's a little bit of a newer one, maybe 70s. It's on London. I'd say this is probably in the 70s with that real nice cardboard slipcase on this one.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
Doesn't have anything on the back. Let me see what the label
I
looks
didn't
like.
mean to pull
Al
these
Green,
out.
I'm still in love with you, and look, it's got the small hole.
Ooh.
That's the home hole.
So
not
is it
that.
45?
No, this will be 33.
Yeah.
It's a compact. It's a 33.
Oh, I only
So
pulled
this
it out
has-
because of the cover.
So this is what they consider. This is another format, the compact 33,
Oh.
which because of the format wars, they wanted to have a 33 version on 7-inch, and what they did was they put 2 songs on each side. So this is For the Good Times, I'm Glad You're Mine, and on the other side is Love, Happiness, and Oh Pretty Woman.
And good morning, everybody that's sending us little messages.
Mark, and all right, we got some.
Quick Eats and Mark.
How about
good
that?
Good morning.
Mark also got some new speakers this week.
Oh, he did.
Oh man, let me tell you, we'll have to talk about that here in a minute. He bought some 901s I had here, a mint set of Bose 901s with the EQ, I might add.
Yeah.
And always a great customer. Love having him in the shop. So.
You want to? And I don't have any dates for anything else. I don't know. Apparently, I slacked last week.
Yeah, that's all right. We're not always having. I mean, we're not perfect.
No.
All right, you want to talk about this format?
Yeah,
the reel to
it
reel.
was used as early as the late 1920s, and because they were a magnetic recording, which was used, I think, in all the tape formats. And the recorder, the real recorder, not player, but recorder, was invented in Germany.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
They
invented a lot of stuff.
They invented a lot of stuff. Obviously, back in the day, this kind of came out about the same time as 3345. I should say came out. It was adopted as a format that people could afford and buy. Even though it was invented in Germany a long time ago,
Right.
It wasn't they weren't putting music on it for a while, till probably the 40s and 50s, right in that format wars. But it was at a higher price tag. A lot of people couldn't afford them. So people who had them were typically the more well-to-do, more wealthy customers. So a lot of, like, this is a 101 strings, swinging things, strings by Dan Costa. Again, some of that 50s style music. There's a lot of classical. And then as we go forward, it went through the, you can find Beatles and you can find Hendrix and you can find 60s artists. And up through through the 70s.
Yeah.
It was quite popular. Up through probably about the cassette tape era. You can still find reel-to-reel decks. We refurbish them. I don't have any for sale currently, but they're still around. There's still a big fan group that collects reel-to-reels. In fact, a lot of people believe that this is the closest you can get to the original master tape because it's literally a copy of the master tape. They just dub it right over, and we get this. So, no, there is some downside. Like older tapes tend to lose their highs, but you know what? Overall, it's a phenomenal format, still being used today. Obviously, cassette tapes are a subset of this down the road. The cassette tape, the 8-track tape, and they're still making it today. They're still making brand new reel-to-reels on a very small scale. They're very expensive. I can't emphasize how expensive they are. They're like $500 or $700 a piece.
Really?
Yes, they're very, very expensive, and they only make
Is
like
that
1,000.
blank or
Pre-recorded?
pre-recorded? Okay.
Yeah, you can find them. They're very expensive.
Definitely for those audiophiles.
Yes, and then they're obviously making brand new cassette tapes.
Yes, they are.
Which are cheap. They're like $12 new if you can find new cassette tapes. They're not expensive at all.
I got an email from Record Store Day. I signed up to get their emails, and probably a week and a half ago, and they were showing a lot of the stuff coming out this year now.
This
is actually
June?
going to be on cassette format as well as vinyl.
Yeah, they've been doing CDs, cassettes, and LPs for Record Store Day for a while now.
But it seems like the cassettes are pushing themselves back into the market a little bit more
Absolutely.
than they had been. Yeah.
And cassette tapes are great. Well, let's start talking about those here.
Let's throw an 8-track up first.
Let's
because
move on.
That probably is the next.
Yep. So I'll get another magnetic medium, not unlike the reel-to-reel.
We'll put it up this way so you can. This is a Jackson 5 Skyrider.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
We've got thousands of 8-tracks here in store.
1973 on this one.
And this was invented by the guy that made the Learjet.
Huh.
Yep. He wanted a format that he could buzz around in his plane and it wouldn't affect the sound. So it's perfect for a car, for a plane, for anything that's moving. Mm-hmm. It's a format that is impervious to that. Whereas, like, obviously a record would skip.
Yeah.
You can't take a reel-to-reel.
Back in the day, I don't remember what kind of cars, but there were a few cars.
A lot of cars
in
had
the
8-tracks.
50-ish?
Oh.
That had phono.
Yeah.
That had a stereo.
Had quite the suspension on them.
Yeah. I'm having a feeling they probably just put on a romantic tune when they were parked at Lover's
Yeah, I
Lane
would say that's probably more
instead
realistic.
of zooming along and listening to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 8-track tape, it's a continuous loop tape, which I still don't understand how that works. Do you get that?
There's no end.
There's no end to the 8-track tape.
That's what I mean. That's what continuous would mean.
Continuous. There's no end. It's just one looped tape. And then if you remember 8-track, there's 4 selection buttons. And what the selector buttons do is they move the heads down a notch.
Yeah.
And then they reset up. So that music is actually in bands on the tape. It's in
Which is just amazing.
It's in 8 strips. And then it moves them down as you go through the selections. But yeah, it's just one continuous tape, which is kind of ingenious. I don't understand how the continuous tape part works. I get the heads moving and I get how they banded the music through it, how that works. I don't know how. I mean, continuous tape, it still blows my mind how they can make it and still not get it bound up. But it was a great format. Lasted a long time. You can buy 8-track. I have 8-track players for about $100. I sell 8-tracks here for $2.
Ooh, where'd that?
Higher end ones go for about $4 or $5. Beatles might run you $5. Very cheap format. Obviously, there's something to it. I have people that collect 8-tracks coming in our store looking for these, but always kind of a fun thing to have. Again, great for a party. You can just slip them in and You don't need to
let it go.
Just let it go. You don't need to worry about someone scratching your records or your discs or whatever. You just ka-chunk and just have fun. They don't sound the greatest. It was a downgrade from the reel to reel, but hey, for convenience, that's what you get.
Yeah, exactly, convenience. And next,
what do we got next in the lineup?
cassette, I would think. Well, we just wanted to throw a Stevie Wonder up there too.
Stevie Wonder 8-track.
So.
The cassette tape.
We got Commodore's Night Shift going on there.
That's right. Any stats on the cassette tape?
No.
So the cassette tape makes its dawn. Obviously, we're moving up in time. Man, these things are falling on me. Back into the late 70s, early 80s. So notice that the cassette tape takes over where the reel-to-reel kind of tapered off. The compact cassette. All analog. Holds a whole album. You can throw it in your cassette player in your car. It does have an end. There's a fast forward and rewind. But you flip it over and you get to go the other way.
Or if you had one of those really cool cassette players, you had one of those automatic.
The Nakamichi that returns.
Yeah.
I've got one of those at home.
Is that the Dragon?
No, the
that's
707. I have a 707.
Okay, so cassette tape or compact cassette was first developed in 1962. And then it was released
late 70s.
to Europe at the Berlin Radio Show on August 30th, 1963.
That's still early.
The invention was released in the U.S. in November of 64.
No one bought it yet. It was not popular. Even though it came out in 64, it didn't get popular to the late 70s.
I did not know that they were.
It's typical. I mean,
Right.
Nowadays formats come out and they hit the market really quick.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s and 70s, it took years for this stuff to make its way out to stores. It's not like you could just go on to Amazon or TotalOnline.com and bloop, it showed up at your door. That didn't exist.
Well, there were record clubs.
There's record, yeah.
You know, you got that mailer once a month, and you got to pick, I want this, this, and this, and then like 4 weeks later, you get 6 new.
For a penny.
Well, no, that was only to reel you in. Then after that.
Then you had to pay full price.
Yeah.
Does that get us up to the CD?
I think so.
The cassette reigned supreme all the way through the 80s, all the way up to the early 90s. I mean, I know people who were buying CDs in the mid 80s, but it wasn't. It was not adopted until the late 80s. I would say like 87, 88, 89. Started picking up steam.
I think I had my first one in 86.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were so
Billy
expensive.
Idol, White Wedding was my.
It was so the CDs were expensive. The players were so expensive. A lot of people stuck with cassettes and they stuck it out as long as they could into the early 90s. People adapted from the format somewhere between, you're talking 4 or 5 years, 6 years of changeover until you get to about 1990, 1991, where the cassette really took a dive and the CDs reigned supreme, where enough people had them and could afford them. And we entered the.
I mean, I want to say they were 20 plus when they first.
They were expensive. Players were $400, $500.
Yeah, I got mine over at Columbia when it used to be on North Central Avenue.
Yeah.
So the first compact CD pressed in the U.S. was, do you know this one?
No.
Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA.
I kind of knew that. It was the last.
In September of 1984.
So that would make sense. Like I said, 84 took a while to catch on. By the late 80s, it was going strong. The cassette died. Late 80s, early 90s, 91, 92. The CD era comes in. We got grunge coming in. The vinyl LP died out kind of with the cassette tape.
Well, and what's interesting about this one as well, going with this cassette tape and everything else, this was released on LP, cassette, and CD.
Yep. So right in that late 80s era.
June 4th, 1984.
Yep. As an LP, although it didn't completely die, in America, the LPs were pretty much ceased pressing at 87, 88, 89. In Europe, they hang on to their formats longer than we do because they're a lot slower to jump ship, which is a good thing. They kept pressing vinyl. That's why a lot of 90s artists, which are looking for a 90, 91, 93, 95, 98, those are all pressed overseas. They're all pressed in Europe. they kept the pressing plants going all the way through. In America, there might have been some small press stuff. There basically wasn't anything. You had to get it imported. I know there's original Nirvana Neverminds and there's Pearl Jam 10s. Those are originals. I believe those were imported.
Oh.
I believe they're imported from
Europe. There
Europe.
had to still be pressing companies in the U.S. doing something at that
There
time.
wasn't much. I mean, I think they were still making 45s for jukeboxes.
Okay.
They're still making probably, but I mean, you're talking about such small quantities that those records are so hard to find, which is why they go for so much money.
Right.
So that gets us into the CD era, when CD just dominated and reigned supreme all the way through the 90s, all the way up to the Napster era.
Yeah, forgot about that.
This gets us all the way up to...
First we had this, though. We have DVD. Music
That's
DVD.
coming.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we can do the music
There's
DVD.
some music DVDs, too, for another format, so you can watch it and listen to it.
So yeah, we got to, let's kind of get us up to the Napster era, because the DVD didn't really come popular until about 2000, 99, 2000, when people were starting to get DVD players. Yes, I know it came out in 1990, whatever, 6 or something with Laserdisc. It was a 4,
Oh my gosh.
you know, it's probably around
how
forever.
about Beta?
But no one had really realistically bought them or could afford them until like 99, 2000. And so, you know, we get that, and then shortly thereafter, downloading and the internet brought on streaming and the MP3s, and killed the CD off. So the
iPods.
CD sales slowly dropped until, I mean, just the last handful of years when they disappeared from Best Buy, they disappeared from just about everybody. Target still has them. Barnes and Noble still has them. Your local record store still has them. But new CDs are getting harder and harder to find. The only good thing out of the CD decreasing is that they become more collectible. So people who are collecting them, older CDs have become more inexpensive, which brought more collectors into the market. We're selling more CDs now than we ever have.
TotalOnline.com, we're starting to
Yep.
get a pretty good inventory on there.
Yep, more people are coming in buying CDs.
Yeah.
Because they're inexpensive, $3, $4, $5 typically. New CDs, even though they're $12 or $14 or $10 or whatever they are, they hold their value more. It's not like in the 90s where you buy a CD and in 5 years it's worth 99 cents because they made 7 billion of them,
Yeah.
and you can find them in a garage sale for $0.25. It brought the value way down. So the music CD is going through a transition right now from clean out your closet to a collector's item. Mm-hmm. And we'll continue to do so for the next 4 or 5 years. CDs are not going anywhere. Unfortunately, they're not in everybody's cars anymore.
I know.
That's probably the biggest loss for the format.
When I bought mine, I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, the
I do
new
like
cars.
the heated steering wheel, though.
Yeah, and I still have one, but it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad because
Now you got to put it on download it, put it on your phone, it's a lot more of a hassle, but you know what? This will transition more to a home environment, but it's losing the car environment, which is a big loss.
Yeah.
So that gets us back to current day, right? Mm-hmm. The rebirth of the vinyl format, which we've been riding high since we bought the store in 2005, and every year we've sold more records than the year before. Mm-hmm. And people always ask us, like, what's it like with the vinyl's booming? You guys are doing great. And I said, well, vinyl's been selling more for 15 years. We've been selling more and more. I mean, we started in 2005, 2006. Our new vinyl rack had about, 30 titles in it, 20 titles in it. And then it just grew, and it grew, and it grew, and grew, and grew. And now it's a whole aisle with thousands of titles. It's all on our website.
You actually used about another half an aisle.
I know. It's unbelievable. So, and now everything's getting pressed. The vinyl quality is better. I mean, we can go on and on about modern pressing techniques and vinyl formula and gatefold sleeves and analog and digital. And it's
180 gram, 200 gram.
I could do a whole show on all that. But the importance is this quality. They know that whoever's buying this loves the music. Mm-hmm. They're not just putting it out. They're not just putting out junk to put out junk and make money. They're doing it to supply us with quality playback music.
And they're there are a lot of people who do want originals, which somehow there's just some titles that you're never going to find on original.
Hard to
and
find.
most of these presses are just phenomenal.
Yep. So it's
Like Craft. This one's by Craft Records.
this is a Craft Recordings. This is an Impossible Booker T and the MGs, a tribute to the Beatles. Phenomenal record. We just got that back in today. We'll go over some more of that. But that kind of wraps up our formats. It's just fun to kind of, we liked going back, throwing it back, kind of breeze through the newer stuff. But again, if you guys are into Edisons or 78s, reach out to us. We got a lot of these for sale. We're liquidating the store of these. Yeah. And then we're going to move over to Annette. She's got some Black history, some Sam Cooke she's going to talk about today.
We decided to go into Sam Cooke because we
just got some
a bunch of Sam Cooke back in the store. I just wanted to show this really quick too. I saw before we started the show this morning. This is a 5-disc set, the specialty store, and this really has a lot of good stuff on it. We've got Little Richard, Sam Cooke, Lloyd Price, Johnny Taylor, Marvin and Johnny. So if anybody's interested in this, we do have $20 on it. We don't have it listed online, but there's a lot of good stuff on here.
Five CD set.
5 CD
Open
set.
it up.
Yeah.
See what you got. Got a book in there?
Let's see. Let's
find out.
Here. It does not look like there is a book. No.
That's cool. 5 CD set, but it's all the old specialty record stuff.
Yeah.
Look at it's got the specialty store. It's got their old building on it.
Oh, it sure does.
It's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, look at it's got the different labels too. Show the CD.
Oh.
So the yellow is the old specialty label, and then these are like kind of spoofs off their old record labels.
Record labels. Let's see what else. This is the same as.
So it's the same as the yellow.
3.
This must be the really early. The red must be the real early. And the yellow white was the later one.
That's number 2's the same. So that's the only one.
No, it's different color. It's black and.
Oh, it is.
It's black with yellow.
Black with yellow.
This is yellow with black.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did that. They spoofed all their different labels.
That's cool.
It is cool.
And these are just like
brand new.
They are. They're in great shape. So glad I saw that one when I was over there.
Yeah. How much is it?
$20.
$20. 5 CD set.
5 CDs.
And this is stuff that's stuff that's hard to find.
Yeah.
And some of it's again on 78, then 45, then LP.
The sepia tones. Oh, the Soul Stirrers. Let's go into the Soul Stirrers.
Wow.
You know about the Soul Stirrers?
No.
All right.
Tell us about the Soul Stirrers.
That is the first group that Sam Cooke was in.
Oh, what a transition.
A recording group.
Oh, man. Soul Stirrers.
It was a gospel group, and he toured with them for about 5 years.
One More River featuring Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
How about that? 5 hours, 34 minutes of music. That's a lot of music. All right, let's branch. What you got for Sam Cooke? Let's do it.
Well,
let's get your story going. I like your story.
My story is like, I'm going to start doing my research on Saturday afternoon. Because I spent 2 hours yesterday watching that Prime Video.
Tell me about it. I haven't seen it.
It's a show Legend.
I haven't seen it. Tell me about
Sam Cooke, and it's a good show. So, quick rundown on him. He was 33 years old when he was killed, January 22nd, 1931. So he would have been 90 years old this year. Died December 11th, 64. His father was a minister, and Sam Cooke sang gospel in his father's church.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. First group he was in was the Soul Stirrers, which was a gospel group, and they toured in parts of the U.S. I think they went to Texas. They went to some of the southern states. I'm trying to remember where else they went. So.
Where is he from?
He is from, and I wrote that down. He was born in Clarksville, Mississippi.
Okay.
Is that the song? Is that Monkey's song? Is that Clarks? I know it's Clarksville, but it's not Mississippi, is it? Okay. So in 1933, he was born in 31. In 33, his family moved to Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So it was not very old when his family moved to Chicago. Let me see. Let's at least get a picture.
Hey, Last Train to Clarksville. What you're thinking of?
Yeah. Oh, and apparently he was a very avid reader as well, which is really, really cool, which flows into the story a little bit later. He was also in a group with his siblings called the Singing Children.
Family band.
Family band.
Family vocal band.
Because I can't remember. There
love
were a
it.
lot of kids in his family, and I don't remember how many, but they did interview a couple on the show. It was really, really interesting show. And it says in September 1956, he took a step to becoming a pop musician, which I guess I always thought of him as more like soul.
What would have been pop back then?
Pop back then.
Yeah, just
So
like
that kind of threw me off a bit.
yeah. I mean, he went from being some singing in churches and doing gospel, kind of more gospel style music,
Right.
to now you're gonna sell singles. That's a transition to a pop star
Right.
back in that era.
Let's
So
see.
this is Keen. This is his label, right?
It was, and do you know that he actually they sang there was a song called Lovable, which was a gospel the first time it was ever put out. He rewrote it or
See if I can zoom in on this.
reproduced it to be a pop song and was performed under the name of Dale Cooke.
Huh.
Even though, if you look at the credits, S. Cooke, so everybody knew who it was, but he did it under a different name for some reason. Let me see if I can find the thing about here. Y'all know I need to start numbering my pages.
Yeah, Annette in her notes.
Okay, so Keen, he was first with what label was
Is that Specialty?
first? No, I don't.
The Soulsters?
I don't remember Specialty being in here anywhere. But anyways, he changed from Keen. Keen was his label.
Okay.
He didn't necessarily record, I don't think, at the very beginning of it because he was still with RCA.
Okay.
But he did, the second hit with Keen was A Wonderful World. Then RCA put out Chain Gang, which was written by Sam Cooke.
Okay.
And then he so Keen was not his label. He built a label of his own called SAR, S-A-R Records.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so this wasn't his label.
No.
S-A-R.
SAR was his label.
Okay.
Oops. I'm not prepared today.
That's okay.
I came in, I'm like, I'm tired, my body hurts, I'm crabby. Let's see if I can do a decent show. Okay,
That's all right.
I'll quit whining.
But we got some.
Speaking of, yes, so speaking of him being an avid reader, one of the quotes in the show was, the more you read, the better writer you'll be. Because he was such an avid reader, he took a lot of his song ideas from some of his reading, and he also took his ideas, obviously, from just being out in the public and seeing different things happening.
Okay.
So the Chain Gang said he was traveling somewhere, I think down south, and actually they drove by one. They got to the hotel that evening or wherever they were going, and he wrote that song right then.
Wow.
So anything that would
Visually stimulate?
that
Or get him
visually
to-
stimulate him, he could write a song about.
Wow.
So this is Sam Cooke, Keep on Moving. These are ones we get all these in last week?
Yeah, these three came in last week.
Sam Cooke at the Copa. This is recorded live at the Copa Cabana in New York City, July 7th and 8th, 64, which is the year he died. That's the second time he was actually at the Copa Cabana in New York, which apparently, if you made it to the Cabana,
You made it.
So the first time he went there, he was not prepared for the show. Like I'm not this morning.
Sort of.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
The orchestration was not ready. The music wasn't ready. He was apparently in a back room with paper all over the floor trying to get ready. So he felt he didn't do a good job, and he was interviewed on a TV show, and this is a quote of it, and he says, "I bombed. I know why I bombed, because I wasn't ready."
Well, you're doing better than bombing, I would say. I wouldn't say that you're bombing
So
at
then
all,
this is the second time he was
Came back and did it
and then
again.
obviously he did a little bit of a better job because
Yeah, he was actually ready that time.
yeah.
Very cool.
And what's
$25. Sam's
bucks
biggest
on that.
cook in town.
He's got an opening introduction, which I haven't heard this. I'm going to assume maybe it's a He's speaking
Yeah.
to the audience, twisting the night away. Oh, Blowing in the Wind is an interesting story.
Hit us with it, Annette. Hit us with the story.
Can you let me find my notes?
I will. Throw me the other Sam Cooke while you look through your notes. And I'll introduce this as, what do we got next? We've got Sam Cooke. This is Ain't That Good News. Another $25 record. I love Bob Ludwig mastered it.
A Change Is Gonna Come, which is his answer to Bob Dylan's version of Blowing in the Wind.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so
we've got Blowing in the Wind on that.
Okay.
And then we've got A Change
It's
Is
gonna
Gonna Come.
Okay.
And he said it was the hardest song he ever had to write. And the message became much more serious. Dick Clark said that that Sam Cooke had a message inside he had to get out, and that apparently was the song is A Change Is Gonna Come.
Okay.
So he was very much against segregated audiences when he played. He did not want to play to segregated audiences, and I think he became one of the first or second to refuse to play eventually to segregated audiences.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then
ties right in perfectly with the
Yeah.
Black History Month.
and some of his music obviously was inspired not only with the chain gang, but inspired by the lunch counter sit-ins
Okay.
due to segregation that he witnessed. He was also arrested for attempting to integrate a Louisiana hotel. So he was arrested for that.
Yeah, down south. they
Yeah.
probably bust him for that.
Yeah, so he just had a very, very much more interesting life than I knew. You know, and I love watching this kind of stuff because you get the backstory.
It's all a lot of the stuff.
And then you start listening to some of this music and you're like, oh my gosh.
He lived, yeah.
He lived it, he wrote it, he saw it. He told us about it in his own way. Poetry into music.
Yep.
And this one's a great one.
If you guys want an audiophile version of Sam Cooke, this is the Analog Productions 2LP 45 RPM. Has all of his hits. It's going to sound phenomenal. You get all of his the big ones. If you want to do a little deeper dive, these other three that we had up were all mastered by the best in the business. They're all also going to sound good. So we got some options for Sam Cooke, which we usually don't.
Yeah.
So those we wanted to highlight those while we had a chance.
Now, was there anything else that we needed to refer to?
Yeah, I was just gonna I had a few cool things come in. Like I had showed this Booker T and Macklemore Avenue, Booker T and the MGs. This is a record that came out for Record Store Day.
It did.
And my Booker T record's been selling really well. So when I was trying to find some more Booker T, my distributor was like, "Oh yeah, I've got some more of those." I said, "You do?"
Not 237.
Not 237, but I got like maybe 12 of them. So I said, I'll take them all. So I'm restocked on these, which slipped by a lot of people, which is a phenomenal album. This is a hot selling item right now. This is the Bowie Station to Station 45th anniversary edition on colored vinyl. Indie store only on this. I had my last batch came in and I sold out of them in 12 hours. I expect the same to happen to this. If you're wanting one, it'll go on our website today. Later today, it'll go up. So that's a little sneak peek for watching the video.
That's right.
You get a fresh shot at getting one of those.
Tuesday is usually not a new vinyl day.
Tuesday is not usually a new vinyl day.
Last week we missed 4 boxes on Friday. They didn't get delivered.
We have a few Run DMC, Raising Hell MoFis left. We're going to have them on our site for 100. We know they're going for 150 in the open market right now. We filled all our pre-orders. We have a few left. So if you want one, you can call us or just wait. We'll put them up on the website. Yeah. But those will probably go quite quick as well. Yeah. When the Google robot finds them, those things will be gone. So.
The Google robot. Huh.
Yeah, well, as soon as you put your items on the site, the Google machine finds them and we come and search, and then, man, they're gone.
They're there.
That's how it works.
The Googlies.
Yeah, the Google machine. So that kind of does it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have any questions on anything or anything you saw, you want to purchase the 7-inch or the cassette tape or whatever, always feel free to reach out to us.
That's right.
Toadhallonline.com is the website. Phone number is 815-226-1259. You have to press 0 when you dial because it blocks out all the robots.
Yeah.
So, anything else I'm missing?
We're not robots.
Yeah, we're not real people answer the phone
Yeah.
still at this business.
That's right. Well, most of the time, if we're on another line or away from the phone, but there are real people here.
Are you going for the Chiefs? I know you're going for the Chiefs. I think I'm going for the Chiefs this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't vote. I can't root for Tom Brady after he beat Aaron. So
No.
So
That
go
would be
Chiefs.
bad. That's right.
This weekend, Super Bowl, obviously, 5:30. 5:30. It's kind of an earlier one, so so just plan on that.
Oh yeah.
We'll-
Got some good food planned for it.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah, going to go over to my brother and sister-in-laws. Oh yeah, those two know how to cook. Woohoo!
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll be doing the
Go
MoFi Minute
Chiefs.
on Friday.